Hi guys, it's Fletcher here. Here I'm doing a further comments video regarding the Hot Toys BVS Superman figure, because I have some comments to say about it since I've had it, as well as a very big issue. As some of you collectors know who own this figure, this version has very tight ankle joints. So one night, because the ankles were very stiff, I wanted to loosen them up so that the feet can move more with a more smooth rotation around. So I picked up this foot and started moving it around. Then it detached. Luckily, it only separated the foot from the ankle peg from inside, and so I felt a bit pleased that it wasn't broken. I remember seeing Clip King's video where he was talking about this, where he managed to detach the foot from the ankle peg as well. He thought for a moment that he broke it, but then he managed to clip the foot back into place in the peg from inside, because as you also may know that these boots are not detachable, they're stuck into the costume material. I have a friend who also owns this figure who said he had the same incident where his foot came off, but he was luckily able to clip it back into place. So I thought, that hasn't happened with me yet, and now it has. I felt a bit cocky, and I thought, whoa, look at mine. Mine's come off as well. So I took a picture of a broken ankle Superman, and I sent him this picture saying, well, look at this, woohoo. But it was okay because I was able to clip it back into place. So then second time round, when I was moving it about, I wasn't so lucky now. I moved it and then it detached again, and then I was trying to fit the foot back into place, but then I couldn't get a click going. I couldn't find the bulb joint from the ankle for the foot to clip into or anything like that. So I was watching Clip King's video again about when he talks about the feet with this figure, and I spent minutes and minutes and minutes of moving the foot around to try and clip it back in, and I wasn't so lucky. So I was wondering what's the difficulty, why is it taking so long? I tried to put my finger like on each side of the foot end of the ankle, like from the foot end and the ankle end, and I discovered that there was a slight sharp end coming from the foot end, and I thought, oh shit, I've broken the actual ankle peg inside, and that turned out to be true. So I'd broken the peg inside, and I've snapped it in half, so the foot was completely separated, and I didn't know what to do because I couldn't actually remove the entire boot to inspect it inside. At least I didn't know how to at the time. So what I did, I made a call for help on the Sideshow's Facebook group. I did try to sign up for the Sideshow Freaks forum, but something was going weird there. It wouldn't register me for some reason, like there was an error or some invalid information going on, whatever. And I got some good responses and some not so many, like, oh, it serves you right for playing with dolls, oh, you broke your Superman foot, oh, Deadpool said something about a superhero landing, and some silly jokes like that. One guy called Chris, who was most helpful and supportive, said that you can actually remove the boot, but you're going to have to break the seals that attach it. So he said to use a pair of tweezers to hold this flap open of the boot, and while you gradually forge a flathead screwdriver in between to break the seals, just taking your time with it. And I thought that it was the entire shin area that was attached, and I thought, oh man, this is going to take forever. But luckily you only have 4 points where the adhesive joins the boot to the costume, which is here, 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 and there's one more on the side of the shin around here. they're like little spots for it. So I managed to do that and remove the boot, and then it was confirmed as I looked inside this part of the foot when I removed it, that it had a stuck bulb joint with sort of a broken pointy spike end to it where the bar of the bulb had snapped, and whilst the other side that had this ankle had the bulb joint stuck in completely. I'll post some pictures that will show what was going on as I posted these on the Facebook group for help. So I managed to do that. Luckily I have a spare ankle peg. So if any of you don't know what an ankle peg is for these figures, it's basically something like this. This is stuck between the ankle and the foot, which allows it to articulate. Some can be longer than this, where this bit, I'll call it the bar, is a bit longer. It'll be maybe like up to there or something. But what happened inside this foot is that it cracked and snapped from in here. The hardest part was to remove the broken end of the bulb from the foot. So what I did, I dipped the entire boot in a mug of boiling hot water to loosen the plastic from within the foot. Then I got some pliers and dug right into the inside, and it took a lot of force and pressure, because if you can imagine how tough, because the pegs are already firmly snug in tight. Just imagine what it'd be like to get it out. So this is the bulb end that was stuck inside the foot. It's translucent plastic, not like the one I just showed you. That's the broken end, and obviously the other side of the bulb was stuck into the foot. But it really took a lot of strength for the hand and force to actually pull this thing out, resulting in my hand really hurting for a few minutes. But it was a really big challenge. Then the next challenge was to remove the bulb that was stuck into the ankle itself. I posted on the Facebook group again, well, how do I get this out? It's not going to take a decent pair of tweezers or pliers to pull out, because it's actually stuck into the plastic leg end. So someone said to, I think it was a guy called Bolden, thanks for him to comment this, but he said to drill a hole in the bulb and then get a screw and screw it in, and then pull the screw out, which should hopefully take the bulb out with it. So I asked my dad if I can borrow his drill, and he said no. He asked me what was it for, so I explained to him this situation, and that I need it to yank out the bulb that was in. And he had a look at it and he said I'll be able to get that out. And I didn't even tell him anything about the ideas on the Facebook group, but when he got around to it, he did exactly that, the drilling in the bulb and screwing the screw in and then pulling it out. It was his idea as well, of alone. So he managed to get that out. And then I had one of these. I was able to fit it into the boot. All this had a great cost. I'd rolled the shin area all the way down so I can access the inner workings easier, to get the pliers in and pull that bulb out. And it had been like that for a while. I'd left it rolled down and left it to dry by itself, but then it was still damp. When I got back to it, when I rolled the shin area out, as you know, if I turn to this foot, it's hard to see as it's not in focus, but basically there are these black detail linings, like the patterns. When I rolled this back up, I saw some kind of peeling going on of this residue, and I thought, oh, shit, what's going on here? And when I got it up, it was kind of tattered and kind of ruined, and with all this black debris sticking out and peeling off and all sorts going on. So that was the great cost, that it ruined the boot, kind of. It's worse at the back though. if you look along down this line and pause it, you can see some bits sticking outwards. But yeah, it didn't completely ruin the patterns. Nevertheless, I didn't like what happened in the first place. And it also made the boot more saggy, so it's got a bit more wrinkles or creasage, as you can see along here, rather than it being just there like that. It ended up like this. So basically, if you to pause it now and take a look, you'd know if you played the spot the difference game. So I put my spare leg peg in and attached it back, and it was able to turn. If I show you, remove this, and this is now how easy it is to move with a standard peg in. Obviously I've also stuck the boot back in to place, tried my best to where it originally was, using the pre-adhesive spots for guidance, and using the leveling of this one as a guide as well, so that is level as that. This one hasn't been altered yet, but yeah, got that going on. And this is just a demonstration of how firmly stiff the ankle joint is originally. See, it's very, very hard. Click, click. It swivels all right. Just very, very firm. Up and down. Click again. So if any of you guys own this figure, and my top advice be to tell you that these feet are not to be underestimated or messed around with, because I went through a lot, and as I just explained to you. And also avoid putting the boots in water, as I told you that there was this peeling residue going on with the lining. Still, I felt quite unsatisfied after the repair job, because obviously, as I said, you can spot the difference. It's a major difference to the feet's appearance now, the boots. I did contact the retailer that supplied this and hadn't heard back from them. And I also contacted Hot Toys. Even though it wasn't a defect and that it was out of human error, it was kind of a complaint to how these feet were manufactured to be so firm so that you can possibly break it, where they weren't designed to be broken. They were designed to allow the feet to articulate. And they got back to me and said, well, this clearly isn't a manufacturer issue, and therefore we won't be able to repair or replace this for you. So I guess I'm stuck with this and gonna have to put up with it. On the Facebook group, some of the guys were very, very supportive. I'd like to give a shout out to those names: Chris, Michael and Bolden, who were very supportive and actually gave a shit and showed a bit of sympathy and said, well, let us know how it goes. Yeah, this pretty much is the result. And one other thing I'm thinking of doing, since I can't get any help in replacing it or whatever, because I would like to have both feet to be equal how they originally were. Like this one's like clear and very firmly in as well, whereas this boot is slightly saggy or soggy, whatever the difference is, a bit more loose. It's not completely firm in. Well, the material, look, there's more stretchy like that, whereas I had to pick on this. You can only get a tiny bit. But anyway, what I was saying, what I was thinking of doing, is because I think there is a difference with the length between this peg and the translucent peg inside, is that I'm not 100% sure if he's standing like completely balanced straight, like one leg is a bit higher than the other. So it might be the case of the peg I put in might be a different length. So I should really replace the peg in this foot with the same one that I put in this one, so it's even. And also I'll get a much better, easier, smoother articulation. Now here I got my custom made Dark Knight Rises Bruce Wayne in his gown, but this was basically made out of a standard true type Hot Toys body. And I just wanted to show you this because this is how Hot Toys had always done the articulation with the feet, and this is how it should be. As you can see in there, this is exposed, so you can see their pegs inside there, and this is how smoothly the feet for these should have been. See, very easy and smooth and simple to move without any clicking or stiffness. I kind of complained as a discussion to share on the Facebook group, like why did Hot Toys have to make these figures like this? And I was guessing that is down to quality control, like a new attempt to give it higher quality rather than making it cheap. I guess they also wanted to make up for its value for money, and also to keep the feet in place better with it lasting over time, giving it that extra strength, I guess. Yeah, so that's the feet issue out of the way. Now to my other comments of the figure itself. So all in all, the figure is pretty good. Probably the best Henry Cavill Superman figure. At first, when I opened the figure in my first day or so with it, I thought the arm articulation was quite struggling to get along with. Like, I wanted to do a flight pose with his arms all the way across, which I struggled to do, but I learned that the trick is, what you have to do is raise the arms, but then if you get to about here, you get some resistance going on because of the costume. The creases form and like form a restriction for the arm to go up further. So what you have to do is pull the costume a bit, just take your time with it, but feed the costume through to allow the arm to go up. Because really you can't have a Superman without being able to do a flight pose, because he has his arms straight, like dead straight. So that's the highest or the best he can get his arms. Still good, up to about there, I suppose. And also something Hot Toys I think could have done or dealt with is the head articulation. Like, that's as high as his head can go, and if you were to pose him like that, he's hardly looking upwards straight ahead. That's how his head would look if he was looking as high as he can straight ahead as he's flying. You could just see his head basically. But they could have, I think they could have made a joint inside the sculpted neck area and have the plastic kind of flexible rubberish, and have it so the peg joint, a bulb joint in there, a double-ended bulb joint, would allow the neck to raise up a lot more with the head. Like with the Iron Man figures, Hot Toys recently did a change with the mechanics behind articulating the head, which allow the head to pose up much higher. So this is as high as his head goes, really. Goes up as much as that, but you do want to be careful not to scrape the hair so that the paint scrapes against the neck. And my other comment, this could be a minor thing, but I guess it doesn't matter if you're not so bothered about it. You see the sleeves of his costume, or the gauntlets, they're kind of rubberish, and if you have, say, the hand in place like that, you can see here that over time the rubber will stick out like that and be stuck like that. So if you want to avoid that, then I guess keep it posed like straight or natural, kind of like that, but you can always, you know, squeeze the wrist area down a bit. Like here, it's sticking out because you have it like that, or have the wrist bent in whatever direction. Just be aware that this area of the costume will stay stuck in place. This is how I have him standing on the base, is that I made this kind of shape with the rod. I made, because all the figure base designs have some kind of crotch grip. So this is my crotch grip. I know it looks weird here, the big, you know what, I won't say it, but yeah, it still holds it straight in place. Like if I rattle it, it'll still stay in place. Because as many as you know, if you use the clamp that screws on top here and holds it around the waist, it leaves an indent on the sides where it grips around of, like squeezing the lining here of the costume in and kind of ruining it. But if that happens, you can always like stretch it out to reform it, I suppose. But I hardly use that. If I were to use it for flying pose, I'd only have it like that for a few minutes. I wouldn't leave it overnight. But if I display it standing, then this is how I would have it. Just make that shape without using the clamp, grip, whatever you call it. And just make this shape so his arse can rest on the curve of this bit, and then the other end just comes to the front to hold him from topping forwards. So you got some resistance back and forth, and he's just held in place nicely like that. Just a few more things. You can see like the patterns, the details. So it's very, very detailed to the costume, as you know. There's a kind of, it's film accurate as well. There's a pattern around here for his S symbol, some sort of detail forming around there of some pattern, and then there's also some kind of change in pattern around his bicep areas, because if you look from the shoulder, it's just this kind of ring pattern down there, up there, then they come to meet together, they come here, and then there's a detail of some sort over there. Same over here as well. Kind of reminds me of cigarette brands. You know, they have all these fancy logos and patterns, but, or is it tobacco or whatever, but anyway, that's that. Thanks for watching the video. Also, thanks again to Chris, Michael and Bolden for your support on the Sideshow Facebook group. If anyone has any further comments or ideas, and feel free to post below. Oh yeah, and also thanks to my recent subscribers for subscribing. I don't usually ask for subscriptions because I don't post a load of videos, but I could get back into it one day more consistently. I was quite surprised because I haven't had subscribers recently very much. I only have like under 200, which isn't really a lot. And also I should be getting my standard Batman figure from Sideshow possibly next week. So if you'd like me to do an unboxing video for that, post your comments as well saying so. Alright, thanks for watching.